All right, guys, this is why life begins, when you just find inner peace and when you're just calm and collected, right? Now, when you have your inner peace settled out, you're just chilling, right? You're not bothered by anything. Your cortisol is low. You're focused on yourself. You're stoic, right? You are more focused on the things that you can control and not on things that you can't control. So you're not stressing out about politics or the guy who cut you off in traffic or what your stupid wife said or what your boss said, right? You are just chilling. You are concerned about yourself. You are the main character and you are concerned about playing the video game that is your life, right? So when you acknowledge that, when you realize that you can only control what you can't control, it just brings you relief because you're not really concerned about everything else, especially if you're a Christian. You're just thinking, well, if something happens, that's because God willed it. That's because it's going according to plan, right? So you're just chilling. And that doesn't mean you can't never get mad at anything, right? But you're just more focused on what you can control. And when you focus on what you can control, you realize in a weird way, you're in control of a lot more than you think, right? You can't always control when your girl is mad at you, but you can control how you respond, right? If she's mad at you, if she's screeching, stomping her feet, crying, and you don't feed into that, you know, she can just rage bait herself. She can tire herself out on the kitchen floor, right? You're just chilling, right? You're not gonna let her bad day ruin your bad day. And that's why I'm such a big fan of like stoicism, because it really frees you up. Because I used to stress about politics. I used to stress about what other people thought about me. And now I just realized, you know, these politicians don't care about me. Most of these laws don't affect me. Of course, there is stuff that affects me, right? The war in Ukraine has jacked up the gas prices. And you see what I drive on the daily, right? But yeah, you just realize that mostly politics, you know, it doesn't really matter who's president, who's mayor. Your life just mostly stays the same. They're not really coming into your life and making changes at gunpoint, right? What else? And I just realized that, you know, I don't really care about what people think about me because most people don't think about me, right? They might have like an offhanded comment, but, you know, I don't have to take them home with me. I don't have to just sit and cope and seethe about what they're saying about me. A lot of people, they look at me and they just don't care, right? They have their own lives. They have their own business to do. They're driving their own cars. They have their own problems, right? So they're not really worried about me. So why should I be worried about them, right? I should be worried about my problems. I should be worried about what I'm doing. I should be worried about what I can control. And that's the best advice I can give you. Once you just free up your mind, because you realize once you stress and stuff, that takes away energy from your brain. That takes away energy that you could be used to be making important decisions. It takes away energy that could be used to make real strict decisions or real smart decisions. So if you're just constantly worried about what other people think about you, what strangers think about you, then you're just letting them affect your life, not just because you're spending time thinking about them, it's because you're spending energy that you could be using focusing on yourself. And honestly, it's kind of a sad thing when people just let other people live rent free in their heads, especially the haters. I always say the hate comes from below. If someone's constantly hating on you, that means they have nothing going on for them in life, and you shouldn't pay them any mind. Now, if someone who inspires you, you know, comments and says, hey, good job, you know, if someone who inspires you comes out and gives you love, then yeah, you can focus on that. That's a great thing to focus on because it actually helps you. It actually supports you. It helps you just, you know, keep on going. You see, a lot of people are driving by looking at me and I'm recording a YouTube video, so I don't care about them, right? I really don't care. And that just goes to show the theme of the video. It doesn't matter what you do. And it's pretty sad that a lot of people spend their one life just sitting around just thinking about, whoa, what will my parents think? What will my girlfriend think? What will my friends think? And at the end of the day, it's just like, you know, you only got one life. You have to live for yourself. And once you realize that, it really frees you up in a weird way. You're just like, hey, I'm free to do whatever I want. I'm free to do whatever I please. I'm kind of out of frame. I'm going to fix it. I'm not cutting this out. Okay, that's better. I'm more centered. A little bit more centered. It's a little lopsided now, but I don't care. I'm going to continue the video. Now, and once you just realize that life is just a stream that flows one way. Once you just realize that you can only control yourself, not only does it give you more confidence, not only does it give you more energy to focus on what you want to focus on, in a lot of ways, it just makes you like a more calm and chill individual. Once you realize that, hey, discipline is consistent, I look good, you know, I'm focused on myself, you're just chilling, you're not really worried about anything. You're walking slower, you're more flex, you're standing up straight, your aura is projecting, and people can feel that, and they just realize like, hey, this guy's different. This guy's different. He's built different. I don't know what it is about him, but he's built different. And a lot of people could tell that about me. You know, I'm just comfortable with being alone, comfortable with being with my own thoughts. And that's the problem that a lot of men have. They're just not comfortable they're not comfortable with their own thoughts. That's why they're constantly listening to music. That's why they're constantly listening to podcasts. That's why they're constantly engaged in conversations, right? Me, I'm okay with that. Sometimes I drive home with no music. Sometimes I turn the TV off and I just stare at the wall for a little while. I like it when I think. I like when I journal because it helps me think, right? I think deeply about a lot of different things. That's why I can say things with so much conviction, because I'm actually saying stuff that I believe in. But it really just starts when you find an inner peace. You're just relaxed, you're chill, your cortisol is low, you're not spiking your blood pressure at every little thing. And it also helps with failures too, because when I fail, you know, when I upload a short or a post and it doesn't get that many views, you know, I'm just chilling. I'm like, okay, I'll just do better in the future. It's not a big deal, you know. There's always tomorrow. Well, there's usually tomorrow. Tomorrow isn't always guaranteed, but you know what I'm saying. There's always tomorrow to improve. I'll do better next time. I'm just chilling, right? I'm not stressed out. I'm just like, okay, no one liked that post. No one watched that post. I'll do better in the future. It doesn't really affect you. It doesn't get my blood boiling because I'm just chilling. I'm just okay. I'm just living in the moment, basically. That's all I got for you guys today. If you don't have that inner peace, if you need to find inner peace, I recommend reading books about stoicism. They really helped me just kind of change my mindset, fix my discipline, help me with my brain fog and my constant, decision making, because I used to be very erratic. I used to just make a lot of emotional decisions, but now that I'm calm and cool now, I don't really make emotional decisions. Because the thing is, when you make a decision based on emotion, you usually end up regretting it. So when you're calm, when you're level-headed, when you're chilling, you usually think about things and you make the right decision. You don't make those panic decisions that you usually end up regretting. But that's all I got for you guys today. You guys have a good one. Peace.